Hey guys, John here with a different kind of comparison for you. Having recently played through Uncharted 4, one of the features that really stuck out to me is a fully playable stage from the original Crash Bandicoot. This isn't the first game to pull Gameception, of course. You know, a game within a game, right? So I thought I'd actually take a look back at some of the other memorable titles with bonus games built in. But let's start with Crash. To start with, they actually went to the trouble of including the full PlayStation boot-up sequence here, and of course, the title screen.
Crash Bandicoot.
Now, as we jump into the game, it should be noted that this is not an emulation. While it does look very similar to the original Crash, clearly this is a one-off thing designed specifically for Uncharted 4, which means you could technically say that Naughty Dog has just made a new Crash game, or at least remade one. So in comparing this with the original PlayStation version, it becomes clear that the look of the game has changed, with a modified color scheme, a different camera angle, and a new HUD, but it's still undeniably Crash. It's nice to see that they've taken into account the limitations of the original game, however. Texture warping, for instance, is in full effect here, and if you look really closely, you'll see that even color dithering is present. Of course, item placement has changed in spots, and the game is much easier in this new version. If you go back to the original, the boulder is actually rather punishing and demands precise timing from the player, but the new version is a lot more lenient. Clearly they didn't want to make this part too difficult to play, as it would drag down the pacing. Another cool thing is how they actually attempted to emulate the look of an LCD TV. The black borders to the left and right of the image glow just like an LCD backlight. And beyond that, if you look closely at the bezel here, you can actually see a reflection of the game on the shiny plastic of the TV itself. It is kind of funny that at the beginning of the game they actually added an X button prompt. A tutorial in Crash? Oh, how times have changed. Still, this is an amazing addition to the game that really shows how in touch with its past Naughty Dog is, even if a lot of the main guys from that era are long gone by now. Oh, and how about that original Naughty Dog logo, huh? Yeah. Still, this is an amazing bonus feature that we really enjoyed. Maybe in its next game, Naughty Dog will actually include a port of Way of the Warrior from 3DO. Come on guys, seriously, how awesome would that be? Okay, so clearly this whole Crash thing has got us thinking about other games within games. So we thought it would be fun to look back at some of the other memorable examples from the past. First and foremost, we have to talk about Guy Savage. This is a game you'll find within Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater on the PlayStation 2. It's triggered after Big Boss is captured and tortured within Groznygrad if, and only if, you save your game from within the jail cell. Once you load up that save then, you'll be met with this pure insanity. I recall the first time seeing this and noticing that, upon loading the save, my TV actually changed display modes. This is because Guy Savage actually uses a lower resolution field rendering mode that differs from the main game. And unlike MGS3, the Nightmare sequence actually runs at 60 frames per second, with plenty of slowdown and tearing of course. Now along the way you fight your way through these weird mutated police monstrosities until it ends. But you can actually destroy a lot of the surrounding scenery, which is nice, and of course even transform into some sort of beast mode. At the time, without knowing anything about this, it really was quite a surprise and left such a strong impression that I still had my original 2004 save game file. Unfortunately, this was cut from future ports of the game, and all dialogue relating to the Nightmare was removed as well. But this isn't the first time we've seen another game engine wind up within Metal Gear. Metal Gear Solid 2's Substance on PlayStation 2 also included a demo of sorts for Konami's Evolution skateboarding game. In this version, however, we have Snake on a skateboard pulling sick tricks around the big shell to a ska version of the Metal Gear theme song. Oh yeah! Another major game which impressed us with a bonus game within itself is Shenmue. You have to remember that Shenmue was all about presenting a realistic world to the player, with working vending machines and whatnot, so it only seems natural that they would have included a playable arcade machine in here as well. One of those playable games is Space Harrier.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
An emulation of the arcade original. As this was a Yu Suzuki project, it only seems natural to include such a game, and it was absolutely amazing to see this included in Shenmue back in the day. And I think many people still look back fondly on this aspect. This of course continued in Shenmue with additional games, but we've actually seen similar things in more modern Sega games as well. Yakuza 5, for instance, includes a fully featured version of Virtua Fighter 2 within its own arcade. Now that is awesome. Alright, so moving back over to Western developed games, there's a number of other inclusions that really caught my attention. Since Crash is basically a new game within Uncharted 4, I felt it was fair to include this amazing Easter egg hidden in Wolfenstein: The New Order. If you walk up to this bed here and take a nap next to these Wolf 3D posters, you actually get a chance to play the first stage of the game within id Tech 5. Sure, the weapon and character movement is all based on the New Order, but the look of the stage and the enemies is just pitch perfect. The same 90-degree angle walls, lack of textures on the floor and ceiling, and of course the pixelated texture work. It's a trip playing through this stage again in this way, and it does actually have some kind of a history, as Doom 2 also included its own take on Wolfenstein 3D back in the day. Of course, in that version of the map, it really looks more like Doom than Wolfenstein, but it's still pretty cool. But there are other id games with features like this as well. Now, these aren't official, but some ambitious modders decided to really push the limits of id Tech 4's in-game console system. The first of which is Terminal Doom. Load up this mod and you're dropped into a room with a terminal monitor in the middle. Step up to that terminal and you're playing Doom. This is legit Doom here, and it plays just as you'd hope. No, it's not an official inclusion by any means, but it's still fantastic to see this built into the game, and it really shows how flexible the console system really was. This might just be superior to the amazing official game included in Doom 3.
Super Turbo Turkey Puncher 3.
Wait, did id Software accidentally pioneer the first clicker game with Doom 3? Maybe so. Either way, the whole thing is rather meta, as you're able to play Doom within Doom 3 within Windows. Looks like Bill Gates got what he was after in the end.
Make the platform better and better.
Yeah.
Don't interrupt me.
But beyond Doom, Enemy Territory Quake Wars also received a similar mod, this time in the form of Quake 2. Once again, you're dropped into a room, but this time there's multiple PCs strewn about, and by stepping up to one of them, you can play the entire game. Seriously, this is the full-on Quake 2 here, even with the ability to configure screen resolution, controls, and more. We even ran a time demo from within the game just to see how it would run within Quake Wars. Unfortunately, it seems to be capped at 30 frames per second, even when you uncap Quake Wars itself. Oh well, still cool. Okay, so there are loads of other games within games out there that we could look at, such as this amazing take on Streets of Rage within Saints Row 4. But the few that we've already looked at are the ones that really stuck out to us. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to let me know, and I'll keep an eye out for more examples of this in the future. For instance, we've just heard that the new Shadow of the Beast game on PS4 actually include the original Amiga game as well. And it's hard not to imagine some kind of Easter egg showing up in the new Doom game. Anyways, that's all the time we have for now. Be sure to like and subscribe, if you did like it of course, and until next time, this is John signing off.